All right, welcome in, everybody. It's the mid-season report. Judgmental TV KBO coverage continues. The Hanwha Eagles 38-34. We've reached the halfway point of the season. We thought we'd give you a little mid-season report, take a look at some numbers, see who's doing well, see who's not doing well, see how they compare to the league leaders. We'll look at our team leaders, and we'll also look at the league leaders and get you set up for the second half of the season, which we will be starting very, very soon. As I said, 38-34 and 2. Excuse me, can't forget those two ties. Always forget to look over there in the tie column in baseball, but they are a part of the KBO. So we find ourselves 6.5 back of the LG Twins, who are in first place. Something you'll notice about the standings, if you've been following along with this series, is that the Eagles in the last month have managed to move past the Samsung Lions and the NC Dinos. So now we are sitting in fourth place. And as I said, we're only halfway through the season. So there's plenty of baseball to go. But I think, the top five make the playoffs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, straight down that column that you're looking at over there on the left-hand side. There is obvious advantages to clinching higher. This is a tiered playoff system. And actually, let's hold off on that because I don't want to go through all of that yet. But that fourth spot has a nice advantage over the fifth spot, and we'll go through all that later. Something else I wanted to talk about, too, a little bit later will be Jason Stark. I saw a column. I don't know when he wrote this, but there's been a lot of talk as the playoffs have continued in Major League Baseball about is the system or is the format set up in favoring those last teams to clinch, those last wild card teams to get in. And there's an interesting solution if you think there's a problem there. The Phillies took advantage of it, I guess, 2 years ago and went deeper into the playoffs this year. They're a 90-some win team in the regular season, if I remember correctly, and the Mets come in and knock them off in the first series. So he does a very in-depth article where he backs up this idea that it seems like what the MLB format has done is given an advantage to actually the later qualifying teams. And statistically, he explains how it bears out. So there is something that the KBO does that was floated before, suggested to be put into the Major League Baseball format. Fans voted against it. I would have voted against it at the time. But honestly, now that I'm playing a KBO series and I understand how their playoffs work, I think it might be a solution to this issue that we have in Major League Baseball right now. So we'll get to that in a few minutes. This is going to be a shorter video if I don't ramble. I'm going to try to keep this one to like maybe 20 minutes or so. So hang with me, and I'd love to see your thoughts on the playoff format issue that we're going to talk about. So real quick, all right, 38-34 and 2, 6.5 out of first. We've covered that ground. The Landers are ahead of us by a half game. We're only a half game up on the Dinos. The Dinos at one point looked like a juggernaut. They have had a tough stretch the last month or so. Samsung has been hovering around 500 all season. KT looked terrible, but they're back to 500. And then you have Latte, Doosan, and Kaiwoon all the way down to the bottom. So top 5 teams are in the playoffs. So we're sitting at the 4th spot, so in a good spot there. Let's take a look at our lineup. We adjusted this lineup a few weeks ago. We got Ha, the shortstop, back, so we were able to put in the lineup that we prefer finally, with him at the top of the lineup. So far, he's done a fine job. Moon in center field. No, great job of hitting third. Actually, let's switch over to the lineup screen, and we'll look at some numbers here. No and Melendez are on top in home runs, 19 and 13. Your RBI leaders, no surprise there. It's No and Melendez. And our runs scored, No and Melendez. There you go. Moon is Seems like he's consistently third on a lot of these categories. Walks. Well, there's Chi Hung An, our first baseman, just 228, but he's did pick up for a while. He seems like that batting average over the last 3 weeks, though, has stayed around the 228, 230 range. So he was starting to hit. Maybe he's leveled off some. That's probably not a change I'm going to make because he's a good player. I'm going to hang with him. He's one of our better offensive guys. We're just going to probably have to just ride it out because we don't have a better option. There is someone else who could play first base and DH from the left side, so maybe there's a platoon thing there that we'll look at. But looking at batting average, 41 starts, Chase hitting 363. No, yeah, they're right there with 352. That's the most impressive. That's 322 plate appearances, 352 batting average, 429 the on-base percentage. So we are offensively kind of are what we thought we were, which is a team that's pretty good up to 5, and we thought 6 would be better, but then also we thought 6 was going to hit 5. So we probably should say top 5 in the lineup. I thought we'd have good bats. The question would be down here at 6 through 9 if that's going to be good enough offensively. And if we look, I mean, runs scored, we're third. Batting average 4th, third. So it's a 10 team division, a 10 team league. First in home runs. So, you can't really come down on the offense too much. Early in the season, there was a lack of offense, but that seems to have fixed itself, and some of that would be explained by figuring out some of the bottom of the lineup guys. Like Jung was terrible to start the season, up to 205. So him and An both really were not playing well at all. Catcher, we're not looking for a ton of offense out of this guy. We thought it would be better, but we're looking at him for defense, and that's been good so far. So the offense, we'll say, by comparison to the rest of the league, is pretty good. I would say you want to be in the upper 5, obviously, and they're doing it. It was just weak early, but there's been a nice run for the team that they've hung around the 4th, 5th spot here with the Dinos and the Lions now. And Landers have been right near us in the standings most of the season. We do tend to take care of business against the bottom of the league, and then not so great against the top. Although that last month did change a little bit. Well, I guess actually we'll say this month, because we are about mid-June as we get to the halfway point. So you'll see here that we got swept by KT. We owned them earlier. They swept us there. So probably missed 2 wins we should have had there. But, hey, we take 2 out of 3 from the Dinos and 2 out of 3 from the Landers. Would have liked to pick up another win here against these guys. Is that Doosan Bears? Would like to take 2 out of 3 from them. So the month of June has been a little different. So 2 wins against Samsung. So as the team got healthy and we adjusted the lineup, it seemed like it improved against the better teams, but not enough to get us in contention with those top 3 teams. But I mean, it is 6.5 games, so then you're only a half game out of 3rd spot. It's just Kia and LG seem to be just better teams than the rest of the league, I would say. Let's see. Let's take a look at the pitching. Starting rotation, top 3, just what we thought. Top 3 would be good. Rue, Castaneda, and Vera. We put out a contract extension offer to Castaneda. It's funny, guys, 5-2, 3.26 earned run average. And I think we sent him like a $750,000 contract extension offer, and that was what he was asking for. That's kind of funny. But all things are in context, I guess, right? Vera also on a 1-year deal. And we'll see about getting him extended too. We'll get Castaneda lined up first, and then we'll talk to Vera. Melendez has not reached out. There was no reason we wouldn't want to keep this young man. He's 26, so you wouldn't expect any drop off from him. And I don't know if OTP holds us to the 3 non-Korean player limit that they apparently have in the KBO. So they do seem to keep us to the 1-year contract offer, but I don't know if that is. So, I mean, I like these 2 guys, and I like Melendez, so I don't really want to give up any of them, and that would possibly mean that we can't add any foreign-born players. There are some free agents out there who would help us. Right now, it's just a matter of money, which we've talked about before. We don't have a ton of money. We only have about $123,000 available. That would sign you some players. So as we get closer to the trade deadline, if it doesn't look like we're going to be able to fix an issue, or we want to add a bat or a arm in the bullpen, we'll test that and see if we are limited to 3. All right, so taking a look at the bullpen. Actually, let's go to the pitching stats here, because I think you get a better look at the bullpen from this angle. So Joe, the closer, 27 2/3, 13 saves, 1.95 ERA. Overall, you have to be happy with that. Park's had a struggle. That's our right-handed setup man, 4.85, not good enough. But he is a good pitcher, so hopefully that will correct itself in the second half. Jung is the left-handed setup guy, 3.38 and 26 2/3. We're happy with that. We have Jang and Jang, both right-handed relief pitchers in middle relief. This is where I thought we would struggle, would be this middle and maybe the long relief. Our left-handers, the Kims and Jung, have been pretty good. When I'm managing, I do matchups quite a bit, and I did a better job, I think, in the later stages of the first half at setting roles, because I play a lot of games out when I normally do these things. This series I've simmed a lot more games than I ever have, and I'm not used to needing to stay on top of this because I'm the one making the pitching calls during the game normally. So part of the bullpen struggle, I think, was that I didn't have these set up properly as the primary role and the options for usage and stuff like that. So I've fixed that a little bit. Plus, we got players back from injury, so you're looking at a pretty good bullpen. It's done all right. I mean, it's not rated great. It's a lot of mid-40s guys. So what I would consider in the majors, I would consider these guys average to below average. Nobody really knocks you out. Even our closer, Joe, is a 60, but he doesn't knock you out. So there is a possibility of trying to add something to this, because the offense seems to be doing okay. And you get a lead in the playoffs, we're going to want to try to hold it, right? That's the goal. So starting rotation, though, as we said, Castaneda, Rue, and Vera have been outstanding. Lee missed some time with injury, and Moon is a young pitcher that has his ups and downs, lately more down, and perhaps at some point here we make an adjustment, send him down to see if maybe that helps his development to go down. And he's only 20, so maybe the minor leagues is where he belongs. I mean, it has been half a season. It's 5.71 ERA, so that's a decision. Excuse me. That's a decision that'll be coming up real soon. Also have to look at what the options are. We did have some guys throw well when Lee was out. I think one of them was hurt, so there might be some possibilities there to replace him. But going back to the main screen, I would say the team's playing. The bullpen is honestly better than I thought it would be depth-wise. I thought Park would be better, but there is a second half to go here, so we'll see how he works out. Lineup, has played basically the way I thought it would play. That we are going to have some problems down here. I thought An would be better, but Kim and Jung I thought would be okay. And Jung is a great second baseman. When Ha and Jung are out there, we're good up the middle. Moon does a good job in center field, though he's probably destined for left at some point. We'll see. But I really like this guy because he's just turned 20 this year. 2 months ago, he turned 20. I love the personality traits. Leader, puts in long hours, smart player, good rapport with his teammates, plays all these different positions. I mean, we could actually move him to second if we got a better outfielder, which we may do in the draft. That may happen. So, let's see. What else did we want to talk about? Oh, league leaders. Let's take a look at league leaders real quick. So get used to saying no. He is obviously our best offensive player, and he's among the best in the league. He's third in batting average, first in on-base plus slugging. There's Melendez, fourth in doubles, and second in strikeouts. But yeah, you're looking, No leads the league with 19 home runs. Leads the league in WAR, 4.8. OPS plus. He's the leader there. 65 RBIs, leads the KBO. Total bases. Melendez is second in total bases. That's nice. So the middle of our lineup, pretty good. And then, let's see, anything else? Extra base hits, Melendez, 35, No 34. That's first and second in the KBO. So I would say that we could make an argument here for No to be KBO MVP. I would imagine that they have that, but Si-Hwan No having a really great season. Projects out to a 37 home run season, 126 RBIs, 429 the on-base percentage, projects to a 9.4 WAR, and just south of a 200-hit season. And bear in mind that this is a 144-game season. So those are very, very solid numbers for him, and we're paying him $350,000. Isn't that something? In case you haven't been with us through the beginning of this, KBO is Korean Baseball Organization, and it's often compared to, say, AA, maybe AAA level baseball. Not quite major league level, but AA, AAA is good quality baseball. So KBO is a great product. People love it. They're very into it. It's a great atmosphere. So KBO is very successful in Korea, and you look at the numbers for No, those are impressive. And when we think about these numbers, we're usually thinking 162 games in our heads because we're used to that in the majors. So his numbers that you saw projected out, like I said, keep in mind 144. No, also interestingly enough, is someone that I signed, I think, as an international free agent in my 2027 Phillies season that you can see up on the YouTube channel. I don't know how often he's made an appearance in any of those videos because he's been in the minors, but as the 2027 season wrapped up in defeat in the playoffs, sounds familiar. No is one of our top minor leaguers who is he's one of our top major league ready guys, and he's has a chance to crack the lineup in spring training and either come in as a utility guy. There's an outside shot of him playing third base and winning that starting job, but probably not. But yeah, that's a whole other league, a whole other universe. So if you're interested in seeing Si-Hwan No, and if he can make a major league squad, maybe we'll continue on with the 2027 Phillies. Man, they really frustrated me at the end, though. We won 90-some games. Does this sound familiar? Won 90-some games and then went out in the first round of the playoffs. So yeah. All right, playoffs. Speaking of playoffs, so when you're thinking KBO playoffs, top 5 in this one league, this one division. There's only one division in the KBO. Top 5 teams. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If the season ended today, it would be the Twins, Tigers, Landers, Eagles, and Dinos. What would happen is it's not like you don't pair these teams up and the Twins get a bye. That was just kind of what similar to the MLB. The Dinos would play the Eagles. So 5 will play 4. It's a 3-game series, but the Eagles have a 1-game advantage. So what the Eagles need to do is win 1 game. The Dinos need to win 2. I hope I explained that clearly. So game 1, the Eagles win, the Dinos are done. Game 1, the Dinos win, they play another game. The winner of that game is the winner, okay? So it's single elimination for that 5th team. The Eagles would have to lose twice for the Dinos to beat them. The discussion that was thrown out in the Jason Stark article, which was rejected by fans, and like I said, at the time, I would have rejected it too, would be to say, to have a similar setup in the early rounds of Major League Baseball. So here's 3 games. Eagles start with a win in their pocket. If they win the series, then they go to play the Landers. That's a 5-game series, just head-to-head, no advantage, and then 5 games against the Landers or the Eagles. Whoever wins that then moves up, plays the Tigers in a 5-game series. Then the winner of the Tigers and, say, the Landers plays the Twins for the championship, and that's a 7-game series. That just wrapped up recently, and oh my gosh, now I'm blanking on who won. Now I feel terrible. Was it Samsung? Well, anyway, irrelevant to what I'm talking about. So would you be interested in something like that in Major League Baseball, so that you have these, teams come in that, I think the problem is the teams that come in are the hot teams, that the lower seeds. So they're going to have an advantage over a team that's been sitting around. So would you be open to some sort of adaptation to the playoff system or to the rules where, so the Phillies play the Mets, and the Mets come in basically down 0-1 in the series. And that's the reward for the Phillies winning the 90-some games and walking away with the division like they did. I would have been against it a few months ago, but now I'm much more receptive to it because you've seen it this year. You saw it last year. It happens pretty consistently now that the better teams end up getting knocked off by the lesser teams. So anyway, something to think about. Throw your thoughts in the below the video here, and throw your thoughts in on the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Really appreciate that. If you can do that, that helps us out, get out to other folks, and we can talk about KBO baseball with more people. All right. So that's going to do it. I think we hit everything we wanted to talk about. So halfway through the season, Hanwha 38-34-2, 6.5 out of first. We knew we weren't a first place team, but we didn't think we were a last place team either. So we're sitting right in the middle, right where we thought we would be. I'm happy with 4th. We'll see if we can't climb these standings, though, a little bit. And at the end of the month, coming up at 29th of July will be roster expansion. 31st is trade deadline. I don't know if there's an all-star game. I figured this out. I got to search that and figure that out. But I thought there was, but I don't see one on the schedule. So anyway, we get the trade deadline at the 31st, and then you go into August. You have a full month of play, but then September, it's just a week and a half, and you're into the playoffs. So we'll be there before you know it. This has just been your mid-season update. So I would say so far so good for the Eagles. I got the email from the owner recently. Nope, wrong one. Yep, here we go. So he guesses he's happy with 521 winning percentage. Not thrilled with the farm system, although I haven't had a chance to do anything with that. So I don't know how that's my fault, but whatever. Fan engagement is lagging. I think that's interesting, but the team is actually probably playing better than expected. So whatever. But he seems happy. So I don't think we're in trouble. I think we'll be around for next year if we keep this up. So yeah. So that is your mid-season update. Thanks for hanging out with me. Oh, up here on the trading block, there's just a couple of guys. But this Yang Chan Lee, he's 35, but he might be a guy that we figure out a way to get because he would definitely be one of our better relief pitchers, right? So yeah, that's a possibility. We'll see if that comes up. Don't think I'm adding a starter. I don't think there's a bat to add. So I think that'll probably be the direction we go if we do add someone. All right, again, thank you for hanging out. Like and subscribe, comment. If you have any ideas, lineups, any suggestions about moving anybody around in the batting order, things like that. If you have any comments about the playoffs, what your thoughts are on the Major League playoffs. I think it's a cool system that the KBO has. I want the major leagues to take this entire system. Obviously, I love the divisions and the setup of that. I don't know if I'm crazy about the current playoff system exactly. Wasn't a fan of the wild card when they added it, but now I am. I think it's a better, more interesting format. But how do we make this so top teams aren't getting knocked out because they had to take a week off to wait to play? So anyway, all right. Thanks again. Hey, if you were watching this video, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube you could be watching, but you're hanging out with us, and I appreciate that. So you all take care. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.